inspired to push through. Because there's a spark in you. Breakthrough or bust. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Breakthrough or Bust. I am so happy to be here with you. I am Kaluwa. And I'm going to start with a little story. I'm coming to you very real today, very tired. If you're joining me in real time, we just had a beautiful full moon and a lunar eclipse, and I decided to get up and witness this spectacular display. So probably about 4 a.m., I think, got up and saw this thing. And it was gorgeous, though. It was gorgeous to watch and to see, at the end of it, the shadow came over and it created this coppery red color over that shadow of the moon. And it was just such a beautiful display, but definitely feeling it a little bit today. And I'm actually sharing that for a reason. I think that it's so important to show up how you are and who you really are. And that's what our guest Carol is going to talk to us a little bit about today. Just that, that whole idea of trying to be perfect all the time or comparing yourself to other people's perfection. And oh, it's exhausting, right? And there's just so much value to just being real and truly being you in the moment, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I want to welcome Carol Henderson. Let's bring her in. Hey, Carol, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me on. I truly,
Oh, thank
truly
you so much for
appreciate it.
being here. So happy
I'm
that you're here.
excited to be, especially on the morning after the lunar eclipse. I'm
I
in
know.
Texas. My husband and I both got up 3 different times and never could see a
Oh,
cloud cover.
that's funny.
And I
I
was like,
feel
"Do I
like
see the star?"
there was another one where that happened to me where I wasn't able to see it. So, and a lot of times I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm not going to do it. But this one, I was like, you know what? I think I am going to go for it. And I set an alarm. And actually, the moon woke me up before the alarm. So I said, okay, this was definitely meant for me to see this time.
Yes, yes. Well, and for those of y'all in the United States, today is voting day, and this is the first time there has ever been a lunar eclipse on a day that we vote. So there's something to that. I mean, there is
Absolutely.
something to the lunar eclipses, to the solar eclipses,
Oh, yes.
and people don't realize how important they are in this day and time.
Absolutely.
That they are
Absolutely. And
there, you know.
we're we're also just coming out of a new 2 weeks ago we had the new moon, and in alignment with that new moon was a solar eclipse, and now we have
Yes,
the full moon with the lunar eclipse. So there's a lot of energy coming up, and there's just a lot of, which again is really perfect for this topic, because it is really bringing to the surface just the fears, the beliefs, the habits, the things that don't really serve us anymore. And a lot of times, our knee jerk reaction is to push that stuff back down, like, no, no, I don't want to deal with that. Right. But, when you think about when you truly heal, you have to go through all of that process. You have to feel the emotions. You have to, you have to get real and vulnerable and admit and own that, you know what, I don't like this. I don't like where I am in this moment. I'm not going to fake it anymore. I'm just going to
and you'll
admit
never
it. I'm going
change.
to own it. And then everything. And I know this for myself, but I've also watched so many other people do the same thing, and I see them, like, you know just get real vulnerable in a group, even with a group of us, and say, I don't like this is where I am, and I've committed to change it. And all of a sudden everything just breaks loose.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. We get into our comfort zones, and that's one of the reasons we don't want to push through and admit to not liking things and admit to struggling. Um, but those of y'all that have seen Kaluwa on my show know that I'm always talking about you can spiral up or you can spiral down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whichever one you're focusing on is what you will do. If you're focusing on the bad, things will be bad. If you're continually saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't like this, I hate this, I hate that,
Mhm.
you know, then that's going to come true in your life because, you know, words are frequency and everything you see is built on frequency.
Mhm.
So that's my story and I'm sticking to
Yeah.
it.
And I love that you brought that back up, the spiraling up, because I feel like a lot of times we don't want to own it because we don't want to own a failure, right? It's almost like admitting a failure. But if you think about it as that spiral going up, no, it's not a failure. It's just a new level. And you've got
Right.
to learn this new level, right? It's like getting to the next world on your video game, right? You got to learn all the tricks here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we all know about that, about leveling up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like so often so often it's like we don't want to admit where we are
Yeah.
because we think we should be somewhere else, and so we pretend to be somewhere else. Or the whole thing about dress for the job you want, all of that part is true. You
Mhm.
want to dress up just a little bit, you want
Mhm.
to put your best foot forward. And I
Yes.
think today in our society, we have the Walmart people. So, it's like they wear they crawl out of bed, they wear their pajamas and house shoes to Walmart if they have on that much. So, don't be a Walmart person. Be be your best self. And that's how you start spiraling up. Because people, it doesn't matter, people do react to you visually. And I come out of the model and talent industry. So, one of the things I taught people was the 10 things that people think the first moment they see you. They judge you on 10 things. It's like, your income level, whether you're nice, whether you're not nice, if you're approachable, if you're not, if you're a mean person, a sad person, a happy person. And those are built into us. We
Yeah.
don't have control over those instant reactions.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you want to, I mean, I would hope that you would want to come across as a nice person, as an approachable person, and those type things, because we are societal beings and we need community. And this last 2 years has stripped us of a lot of our ability to fulfill those needs. And I had a girl on my show just yesterday that came out with a clear mask that was not foggable for people that were hearing impaired. And
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
think of the children. The children are having trouble saying words now because they didn't get to see how the mouth and the tongue worked,
Yeah.
and and those type things. And so she did something. You know, she she kept saying, I failed forward, I failed forward." It
Yeah.
took multiple prototypes, but she did that and enriched the earth. And that's what we all should want to do.
Yeah.
But let's go back to fake and real. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were talking before we went on camera that I come out. I really struggled with Zoom and StreamYard and all that in the beginning because I come out of the model and talent industry where everything had to be perfect and look perfect, and it's all about image. Okay. However, that's not life, and I'm not saying crawl out of bed and go to the store, but I'm saying you don't have to have everything perfect and have
Yeah.
it fake. Everybody's talking about being real and being authentic and such, which is so true.
Mhm.
However, you honor the people you're with by how you come across. If I were to come on this
I
show
would
and I'd
even
be
say you
down,
honor yourself because even what you're saying
yes,
with the way that you drape yourself, right? Sometimes there's some
yeah,
resistance to that, like, well, I'm not so into, and I'm not a fashionista person. Um,
I'm not
but I
either. How
have,
I ended up in that industry,
yeah,
you know.
but I do have where, okay, here are the things that I like to put on me because I'm worthy of. And I think
Yes,
that's the difference, knowing that you're worthy of looking and feeling good. And I think that can
exactly.
go a couple of different ways. Like, I think that for me, I feel like I'm worthy of not being miserable in the clothing I put on my body and crunching my feet and, and
Right.
so that is part of my thing. But I also want to look good because I'm worthy of it.
Right. And truly, I mean, you know that I'm a woman of faith, and we dishonor our creator when we
Mhm.
don't take the best we can of this body we've been given.
Yeah.
Nutritionally, the way we groom it, the way we dress it, the way we treat it. You know, even somebody that goes out and plays sports or works out to an extreme that damages their body. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
think about. I live in Texas, guys, and Texas football. I mean, what have we done to so many of our young people? I
Yeah.
mean, we had a young man, well, two young men. I live in a very small town on a lake, but we had two in neighboring towns that died
Mm.
just last month from football.
Mhm. Wow.
So
Yeah.
what have we done to
Yeah.
ourselves and our children? But I won't dwell on that. But Facebook, let's take Facebook. Almost everybody has Facebook. And have you ever caught yourself judging your life,
Mhm.
your whole life, against the 5% of good stuff that somebody puts on Facebook?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I
Because
have
yeah.
friends and they do travel a lot, but it's always they're on a beach here, or they're on in the mountains there, or they're off here, and you know, and he's a policeman. He needs to get away, and they have a camper trailer. It's not like they spend extravagant stuff, but they're always someplace fun,
Yeah.
and and everything. We have animals. We don't get to go off very often
Mhm.
because we have animals. And so, and finding somebody to take care of lots of animals,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Yeah.
And our kids
Yeah,
don't.
it's that trade-off because you love the animals, but you also love traveling.
Yeah, yeah. And I did my share of traveling. I've been to
Yeah.
many countries, many places, some with my husband, some not, many continents, just because of my industry and because of what I did. But so I've had my fill of it, and I am over it. But it's not a jealous thing, but it's like, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's cool, and everything. But you can't judge your whole life by their 5%,
Yes.
and so that's really really important
I
to
think it is, and
remember.
I feel like no matter how evolved you are, there's still that, like, you can just get caught off guard and still do it. And a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
times it's like that thing that you're going for and you see someone else get it and you're like, "Ah." But I
well,
think that it's the universe showing you, "Look, it's possible." And so
exactly.
when you
Yeah.
see those, just that, "Thank you. Thank you for showing me what I want."
Well, the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, have a saying that when I see something happening to somebody else, I'm next. And when you can
Yes.
think of it in those terms of, oh,
Oh,
so
I
and so
love that.
got this, so and so got that, I'm next.
It
God,
must
I'm
be
next.
coming for me. This must be my
Yeah,
my
yeah. He
coming
doesn't play
attractions.
favorites. Yeah, he doesn't play favorites. And,
Yeah.
and the other thing, though, is in business, which we both are, it's like, have you done the work they did? Are you willing to do what they did to get what they have?
Yeah.
And sometimes they have worked their little patooties off to get what they have, and you think it's supposed to just drop into your lap because you're you.
Well, that's it. What is it? Every overnight success has been, hustling for 10 years.
Yes, exactly,
It's just
exactly.
we
And we
see the
don't.
duck gliding along the water. We don't see the feet going like this.
Right, right. Very true. Very true. So, you cannot judge everything on what you see. And and you can't get into fear about it, and you can't get into judgment about it. And you're not living their life.
Yeah.
That old saying about don't judge somebody till you've walked a mile in their shoes.
Hmm.
Sometimes they don't even have shoes.
Yeah. 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 That really does go for the positive and the not so positive.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And just think, sometimes the ones you want to be like, the ones with lots of money and houses and glitz and glitter, they have to wear high heels all the time. I mean, been there, done that. It's like, okay, I can wear flats now. I don't have to.
Exactly.
I don't have to have 4-inch heels.
I'm always like, I'm 5'9". I'm good. I don't need heels.
Well, I'm not. I'm shorter, and I have done New York. I've done New York City in 3.5-inch heels. I mean, they
Oh
were
my
chunky
God.
heels,
Yeah,
but
but
I mean,
still.
we're
Yeah.
talking walking. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound right. Walking the streets is not what I
Ah,
did, but walking around New York to
yeah.
get places
Yeah.
in heels, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, from somebody like that's 5'9", my mom was 5'10", my dad was 6'2". I don't know
Wow.
what happened to me. She said I got in the wrong line when they were handing out legs. But anyway, you know, when you're shorter, it's also that your feet are tend to be shorter.
Yeah.
And so, a size 6 foot in a 4-inch heel is like this, or a
Yeah.
size 10 foot in a 4-inch heel is like this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's there's little tidbits you can think of when you think about those things.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I remember meeting a woman who had such damage to her feet from long years of wearing heels that she could not ever be barefoot, not even in her own home. She
Yeah.
always had to have some sort of support on her feet. So yeah, it
Well,
can be. And so again, that's that. What's that?
I knew one that had to wear heels because the
Yeah.
muscles and tendons had so shortened in the back of her legs. She had
Yes.
to be in a heel even at home
Yeah.
around her house.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a again, that testament to the perfection thing. Like, you have to look a certain way, and you bring up New York City. So I grew up just outside of the city, and I remember every time you went into the city, oh, you gotta get all dolled up. You gotta, right, you have to look a certain way to go into the city. And I just remember, like, even with my grandmother, we'd go into the city, see a show or something, do this, that, but she always with the heels and the dress and I'm like, we are about to do a ton of walking. Why are you wearing heels? And she's like, hello. you know? But
Yeah, well, and I grew up in that era. I grew up
yeah,
in that era where you dressed to go to the grocery store. You
yeah,
dressed for church.
yeah,
I mean, if you went out of the house, I mean, my aunt worked in a bank. She was a teller in a bank. And if you had a hair out of place or your makeup wasn't perfect, they would send you home.
wow.
I mean, seriously. And that was back when people were coiffed and stuff. It wasn't this blow dry stuff where you can put red hairspray in your hair. So, but yeah, I mean, I can remember, and to fly on the airplane. Flying
Yeah.
on the airplane, I flew a lot as a child, and I mean,
Oh yeah, you
I,
always got dressed up to go on the airplane. And
yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah, I
now
can
people
remember
are in
that
pajamas. But and it's
Walmart.
it's it's no wonder that we're recovering as perfectionists when these were the messages that were coming across, like, you must look
Exactly.
perfect. And I almost
Yeah,
feel like that, where we're seeing people showing up in pajamas is that pendulum effect
I was just
where
gonna say pendulum.
it's gone so far the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's sad because that to me, it devalues them, it devalues us, and you can see that coming out in the attitudes and in the way people treat each other.
Hmm.
They don't value
Yeah.
each other as,
I,
you know,
I
I mean,
often feel like
you
it's
don't want to
part
be
of the
swept off to the,
process. I
yeah,
kind of I
you know, I
often
don't
feel
want,
like, yeah, that's how we get back into balance, because if we're all here over in perfectionville, right? If somebody
mhm.
suggests like, well, why don't we wear flats to this city? Pfft, pish posh, right? But if somebody shows up in the pajamas, we're like, oh my god, well, I guess flats aren't that bad, right?
My
And we
plans look
can
good.
yeah, then we can come back into balance. And I think honestly, this is what we're seeing with a lot of things in our society right now, where it's like ping ponging back and forth so much that I almost think it might just be part of the balancing process.
Well, and you've got to think, we are coming out of a time that for 2 years we were sequestered in our house.
Yeah.
Many people gained 15 or 20 pounds,
Yeah.
and clothes don't fit anymore that they used to wear to work.
Mhm.
And so they really don't have much more than their pajamas to wear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and they got used to being comfortable. I think about
Yeah.
the oh, what were they called? They were the button down chambray shirts, the oh, they were the button down shirts that were tight and the sleeves were
Hmm.
built in and tight. And I'm thinking, boy, I'm glad those aren't popular anymore because just even the movement
Yeah.
was different.
Yeah.
It was more restrained than it is now with the roomier clothes, roomier sleeves, and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, there've been a lot of changes, good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
would say mostly good. Some people have taken some to the extreme, but that always happens
That's
on
it.
both
Yeah.
ends. On
Yeah.
both ends, the perfection and the slovenliness. So,
Yeah.
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 But yeah, but and you're talking about things that the breakthroughs and the changes. There's the breakthroughs in health.
Hmm.
I have one gentleman that that's what I deal in is people that want to design their life to be healthier, to be better mindset and stuff. I had a gentleman who was on 23 prescriptions, not pills, prescriptions. Some of them were 8 a day. Two of them were custom compounded to the tune of $1,000 out of pocket for just those two. And he's now on two prescriptions. So his
Wow.
lifestyle has greatly improved.
Yeah.
And he's up, he's active, he's doing things. And so that's something that, people think, oh, I don't want to be sick, but there's always somebody worse off than you are. There's
Hmm.
always somebody better off than you are.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up. The last two episodes of Breakthrough or Bust, I talked about a reset that I did, where I scaled all the way back and just like cut out everything except for juices and some vegetable soups, and then rebuilt from there. I'd like recalibrated my body clock for my eating times. I did a bunch of stuff, but just issues that I had been having with like bloating and just problems all seemed to go away. And
Yes,
it was
yes.
once again that taking that stance of, I don't like this. I don't like where I am. I'm not okay with this. And when I finally owned it, then I was motivated to do something about it, right? Yeah. And not be perfect anymore, because and that was a tough one. Here I had been a dance teacher, teaching like 15 classes a week for years and years. And so I mean, like at one point I was like, muscle woman, and svelte and looking good, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. And truly I was going through a healing process where my emotional health took the forefront rather than my physical health. And that was part
They
of the
are
process.
connected.
Yeah, they
People,
are, but I needed to prioritize the
yeah,
one for a while, and then
right.
I came out of that and was like, "Whoa."
Well, yeah, but the thing is, if one is out of whack, the other one's going to get out of whack.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
have to get a hold of the one that is causing the disruption.
Yes.
And and that's a whole process. And you know one of the things I use to recalibrate people is the autophagy, and that won the Nobel Peace Prize, Nobel Prize in Medicine in
Mm.
2016.
Oh,
And a
yes.
lot of people don't, it's very difficult to get in normally, but I have an easy way to get into the autophagy. So if people need to reset, it really really helps, and helps them do in short order. And so that's, it works. In fact, I need to do it personally soon, because the holidays are coming, and we've been harvesting,
Yeah.
harvesting pumpkins. And when you're doing lots of pumpkins, naturally what you're going to eat that night is pumpkin pie.
Hmm.
Stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it, because it is what it is. But
Yeah.
pumpkin pie calls for whipped cream, and on and on and on. So, the holidays are here. So for people
Yeah.
that, don't, that's another thing. Don't think you have to have the perfect table. That's the
Mm.
other thing from TV. I don't know if we talked before, but I grew up in a one-story house.
Mhm.
And that was the norm, even in our whole town. There weren't many. There were some, but there weren't many 2-story or 3-story houses. And so I grew up also watching Leave It to Beaver and My Three Sons, and all of that group of shows. And I'm thinking, they have a 2-story house. What's wrong? We don't have a 2-story house. Of course, you've also got to remember the mother vacuumed in high heels and pearls and a dress, a
Yeah.
shirtwaist dress.
Yeah.
My mom taught first grade school in a shirtwaist dress. I mean, they were required to wear dresses, but I mean, with the full skirt tied at the waist, very kind of tailored in the top half, and 4-inch heels.
Oof.
And that's how she taught school on concrete floors, hours each day for first grade.
Wow.
And that was norm. She
Yeah.
had bigger feet than I do, so it wasn't quite as rough on her that it was as it would have been on me.
Yeah.
But that was the norm growing up. That was the norm.
It's interesting to me though, that valuing the appearance, the perfection, and again, like that balance of yes, we want to honor ourselves, we want to honor others as well in the way we show up. But when it's so mandated to be this way at your own, the word that's coming to me is peril, honestly, like on the concrete floors, how are you showing up for those first graders?
Well, she did it well, and in fact, I
Yeah.
still have people coming back and talking to me every time
I
I'm in
mean,
a group.
it's a real challenge though.
Yeah, yeah, but for some reason or another, it I don't know if it was the difference in how the shoes were made,
Maybe,
or
yes.
that
Yeah,
the
they
feet
did.
were better. I think it may be a difference in the shoes, because you put on a good pair of high heels, even if 4-inch heels out of Italy, it's
Mhm.
definitely different.
Yeah,
Definitely different.
yeah.
So, the shoes can make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes.
And
Yeah,
we've all had
absolutely.
comfortable shoes and not comfortable shoes, but I think that may be a big part of it.
Yeah. I love this conversation, Carol. Thank you so much for coming to
Oh,
visit
thank
and
you for
and
having me
talking
on.
with me. um, any last nuggets of wisdom or anything that you picked up along the way about perfectionism?
Um, don't wait until you can do it perfect. One of my coworkers, or mentors, whatever, has a little pyramid we gave him, because he was always saying, "Do it perfectly imperfect." If you wait until you're perfect at it, it'll never get done. Just like Zoom calls and StreamYard, I really resisted it for a while because I didn't. It's like, oh, the background isn't perfect and this isn't perfect, and coming out of an image business,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I have to have every hair in place, that both my personal background and my business background, and to be just real and raw and say, okay, this is me today. I went out and voted. I'm in my little fuzzy shirt and a turtleneck because it was cold when I dressed this morning.
Hmm.
Just things like that, and so it that has been a whole mindset change for me personally.
Yeah.
But if you wait until you can do it perfectly, in fact, back in the 80s, I had people asking me to do videos on makeup, how to do a makeover, how to do this, that, and the other. And I never got around to it because it had to be perfect. And you had to
Yeah.
have all the
Yeah.
lighting and
It
the
never gets
cameras.
out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it never got done. And so don't wait. Don't wait.
Yeah.
And don't, if you're in your second half of life, which can start at any age, if you're in the second half of life, you've got so much value to give people. So don't just sit on it and think, oh, nobody wants to know what I have. Nobody wants to know what I do. Uh, get out there, start a podcast, reach out to one of us, and we'll help. And
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah. I love that. And it's funny because actually, my site is imperfectlyamazing.com. So there you go.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I'm big
true.
on that imperfect stuff. So I love this conversation. Carol, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, actually, several places. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Alignable. It's Life by Design Carol Henderson. Gmail is my email, and you can, if you could want to text, or you can go to get my business card slash website is wellness.atom, atom connects, connects.com, or you can text right from your phone, and that's the easiest way to do it. So let me give you a phone number to text to. It's not my number, but it's a number, and that number is 855-476-4845. And if you'll text that number, oh, sorry, we've got a child abduction there. Uh, if you'll text wellness to that number, uh, it'll come up my business card slash website. Halfway down that opening page, I have a free gift for everybody, and it's flower frequencies. It's not essential oils, it's flower frequencies, and they really work, and they are amazing.
They are
So
wonderful.
go.
I actually took advantage of that, and it's fantastic. Yes, I did.
They never, I don't know who does it and who doesn't, but yeah, aren't they cool? Which one did you get?
I got confidence.
Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
as I'm
There's,
making some shifts and spiraling up,
yeah.
and so I got the confidence. Yeah.
Well, and I think I won't swear to it, but I think you can get more than one, but it's $3 shipping
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
try these out. And,
Yeah.
I've used multiple ones of them and love them. And, they're really quite powerful, but like I said, everything's frequency.
Yeah.
So text to that number, 855-476-4845, and text wellness to that number, and that will give you the little link to go get you some of those flower frequencies, because
Yeah, and I believe
they
I have already in the description here where we are the direct link to that site. So
okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
so we can catch that there as well.
But some people have their phones, so I like it
Yes,
when they
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. So
All right.
anyway, thank you so much for
Oh,
having me
thank
on.
you, Carol. It's always such a joy to talk with you. I love it. And
Well, I
yeah,
love this with you too. So,
yes. And so, everybody out, thank you all for being here, for watching, for just being a part of Breakthrough or Bust. And remember, keep pushing through because there's a spark in you. Sending you
amen.
love.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.